a seat, sip some wisdom, and stay a while. This is the Prosperity Lounge, where growth gets personal. Step inside, we're breaking chains.
Most business owners believe they're covered until the day they find out they're not. Insurance is one of those things where you don't think about it when everything's going right, but it's often the first thing you wish you understood better when something goes wrong. Today's conversation isn't about fear. It's about responsibility, preparation, and protecting what you're building. Welcome to the Prosperity Lounge, where growth gets personal. I'm Joey Ruffalo. Before we jump in, I want to take a moment to thank today's sponsors. First, we have our friends over at Bello Business Solutions. Bello Business Solutions for all your business startup needs and business needs. And they do everything over there, so give them a call and mention Make Business Make Sense. Get a free consultation. If you're watching over on YouTube, there's a QR code on the screen. Feel free to click on that. It'll take you right to their website, right to their contact info. Give them a call and tell them we sent you. And of course, our friends over at LaPera Insurance. LaPera Insurance, call Joe LaPera at 865-252-0480. Jay LaPera at farmersagent.com. That's JLAPERA at farmersagent.com. Take care of all your personal needs. Promo code. If you call and use the promo code JRRadio, the first 10 people that get a quote get a free gift card. Man, excuse me. What a time to take a sneeze. First 10 people to call get a free quote. First 10 people to get a free quote get a gift card. Man, tongue-tied today. And of course, our buddies over at Lagos. Lagos.com, your free 60-day trial of any of their levels. I suggest getting their most expensive level for 60 days of their Bible software. Study smarter with the #1 Bible study tool starting today. 60-day free trial. Use the promo code on screen. Scan the QR code and get there. If you're listening on the radio or you're listening anywhere else on the podcast or anything else, you can always find us on YouTube at the Prosperity Lounge. And of course, if you feel like listening, you can check us out everywhere podcasts are found. Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, everywhere, Amazon, even. There you go. And of course, we have one more special for you today. This is tomorrow, actually. So this is on, putting it up on the screen here. February 7th, Saturday from 8 a.m. Well, they're open from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. But from 8 a.m. to about 11, Knickknacks Ice Cream on 3537 West Emory Road in Powell is having ice cream for breakfast. Come bright and early for fun treats like cereal milkshakes, ice cream donuts, sandwiches. I don't know what those are. Waffle sundaes, and of course, hot cocoa with marshmallow fluff. There's giveaways, games and activities, donuts provided by the Ultimate Donut Shop. And of course, don't forget to wear your PJs. Get there early. They're probably going to sell out. You may even meet me there. Find me in the corner eating an ice cream donut sandwich, getting all messy. It'll be a lot of fun. So check it out, Knickknacks Ice Cream Shop, 3537 West Emory Road in Powell. All right. So again, your support helps keep these conversations like this free, accessible, and focused on real growth, not hype. As always, you can, like I said, you can find us everywhere, and I already read all that. I also want to go ahead and catch the show. How can you watch the show? How can you support the show? If you, hey, I don't have a business, I can't sponsor. What can I do? Well, you can always support the show by liking and subscribing on YouTube, following us on any of the podcast apps, leaving us a review, leave us a comment. Let me know I'm doing a good job. That goes a long way. You can catch new episodes of the Prosperity Lounge, not just on Friday nights here on the radio, but Mondays and Wednesdays at 6 o'clock as well. We have brand new episodes every week, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 6 p.m. Live chat, live after show, connections, everything. It's a great way to connect. And also, we have our brand new runaway hit daily show, Daily Dose of Prosperity, every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. It's 5 minutes or less. Quick, inspirational, gives you actionable tips that you can implement today to grow in personal, yourself, change how you grow your business, change how you show up for others, and more importantly, how you show up for yourself. Again, you can find us every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Eastern, or search Daily Dose of Prosperity at any of those podcast platforms. Now, all the self-serving promotion is out of the way until I mention it again later on. Today, we're talking about commercial insurance. What business owners think they're covered for, where risks actually hide, and how the right coverage protects growth instead of slowing down. My guest today is Anthony Slay from Interagency Insurance, an independent insurance agency serving Tennessee businesses. Anthony, thank you so much for pulling up a chair, and welcome to the Prosperity Lounge. Absolutely. So, insurance. How did you get started in insurance?
How did I get started in insurance? Well,
I'm not a stuffy insurance guy. That's what I'm saying. Like, how did you get started in it?
You know, I didn't go to school to become an insurance agent. I went to
Anybody
school.
does, right?
I don't think I know anyone who went to school.
Right.
I don't know that there's a degree in insurance agent, but I went to school to be a nurse. I wanted to serve people in that capacity, and through that journey in school, I had a son, and when I had that son, he needed to be taken care of. And so I got a job at Capital One Insurance Services, and it was a brokerage. You know, we serviced every state in the country, and I primarily sold auto insurance. And so that was my first experience in it, and that was 20 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have you been insurance the whole time? 20 years?
No, I was in insurance the whole time.
Okay.
In 2009, 2010, I decided that I wanted to drive a truck.
Okay, it's a big leap.
Well, it was a big change.
Okay.
If you remember at that time, there was a lot of turmoil in the job market.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Jobs were tough to get. And, I had mouths to feed. So I got a job driving a truck, and it was actually a really good experience. I really learned a lot about myself. I really grew in areas that I didn't know I could grow. And some of that toughness that I gained driving that truck it served me well throughout my life.
So I think I told you when we had our pre-call, when I was about 6, 7 years old. God, I can't believe I just did that. I got to do 6, 7 years old. It's silly. My grandpa was a truck driver, semi-truck, and I used to go with him on summer breaks or spring break when we were off from school. I used to go with him for the day. We'd pack our lunch the night before, get up at 6 a.m, get in the truck and drive, and get home at night. And it was so much fun going to the different stops and picking up the things and going around and learning what life was like on the road.
Yeah.
How to eat your sandwich out of a paper bag on the side of the road and pull over.
I've eaten many a sandwich out of a cooler that I kept in the truck. That was, you got a lot of freedom. You're your own boss out there, but I was also away. I was away from the people that I loved, and it was also not the safest profession. And so I really longed to get back into, insurance because it had been really good to me. And so I came back and had a couple of experiences in the captive world, State Farm and Allstate. But through that, I came to understand that if you're going to help people, especially in the commercial world, you really want to be a broker. You really want to have the ability to work with several different companies, because businesses are such a diverse, there's so many different business types
Sure.
and industries. And so in order to help the most people, really, you need to be able to have a brokerage. And when this opportunity with interagency arose, I jumped on it. You know, I think I told you the main thing that really attracted me to interagency was just how kind Lou was to me. You know, that was a big deal. You want to be able to, you want to be able to work in an office where you feel like the people that, that run the place care about you.
Absolutely. You have room to grow as well and room to learn.
Yeah,
And I expect to know it all day one.
Exactly.
That's tough.
Exactly.
So I was thinking when you were talking about the trucks and stuff, and one thing it taught me, and maybe it's probably taught you this too, you can correct me, is the, I almost want to say perseverance, but it was just being able to put things off.
Mm-hmm.
So you said the cooler. I'd pack all my food, and if I ate all my food by 10 o'clock, I didn't have anything to eat the rest of the day. So I had to make sure that I had to wait, time myself better, and not
discipline.
Yeah, discipline. That's the word I was going for. Discipline.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't have that much anymore. I eat whenever I want now.
I understand that.
Oh boy. So commercial insurance.
Yeah.
What drew you to commercial as opposed to, and I'm sure your agency does it all.
Yeah.
But what drew you to commercial as opposed to working with like personal lines?
Well, my entire insurance career up until now has been personal lines.
So you just wanted to switch?
I just want to switch.
Okay.
I've written so many homes and so many cars. I can do that with my eyes closed. Commercial
challenge then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love it.
Exactly.
I love it. Okay. Why do you think commercial insurance is so misunderstood by business owners?
Oh, wow. Why do I think it's so misunderstood? Well, I think it's misunderstood because the coverages within a insurance policy, they're not straightforward. They're not written, there is a lot of legalese, and unless you've got some sort of background in it, I mean, how can you really understand that? Some of the things that are in the policy, I wouldn't be able to tell you, chapter and verse what that exactly means.
Yeah.
But that's why you have an agency and a team of people where if you don't know the answer, you can find the answer, and that's key. That is key.
Yeah, I can imagine if you're talking about, let's say, a commercial policy on a personal policy, a homeowner's policy. Let's say you're protecting your home,
right?
Then you have a commercial policy that's protecting the building,
right?
You think about it as almost being like, well, it's kind of the same thing. But
it really is.
Kind of is, but then there's like more details on the commercial side that get into a little deeper and a little bit more stuff.
Yes, exactly. Commercial buildings are much more varied than homes. Homes really, come in just a few different building materials.
Sure.
But if you're dealing with a commercial space, it can be a lot of different building materials, and there's a lot further requirements for safety, sprinkler systems, security systems. It's all very much tailored for the type of business and the risk exposure that comes with it.
At what stage of a business should a business really start thinking about proper coverage?
From the very first day they're in business.
Okay. Throw a little softball there.
Yeah.
First day.
Yeah, that should be a part of their business plan.
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not, because it's an extra expense that they really don't think they can afford.
Exactly.
But you can't afford not to have it.
I totally agree with you.
All right, we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because you talk to people and there's so many different types of commercial insurance that we talked about. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but there's not just like, hey, I have a building, I'm covering the building. There's lots of different other types of insurance that go into owning a business, and a lot of people don't think about some of those. And we're I'm teasing that right now, so you have to stick around to find out what those are, because you may not be covered and you may need to be. Big question that people talk about a lot of times, they come up and they say, well, I'm protected.
Okay.
But they may not be insured. They just think they're protected. What is the big difference between being insured and being protected?
Biggest difference between being insured and being protected. Well, insurance is a transfer of risk from you to the insurance company.
Okay.
So if you're insured, the insurance company is taking that risk away from you. Protected is, for me, and this is just my definition of it. Protected means that if you have an event arise, that event will not cripple you. And that can take a lot of different forms, and not all insurance creates protection, but not all protection is insurance.
Got it. Because I can imagine somebody thinking like, I have insurance. Like for us, like let's just take for example, when we bought our vehicle, I was like, I just want the minimum
Right.
to have insurance.
Right.
My agent was like, if you get in an accident, that minimum coverage isn't going to cover the value of your car. So now I have to up my coverage to make sure I'm protected from it. So
Yes.
I imagine some people just buying the bare minimum and not even just realizing that that's not always a smart play.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and that's where advisor comes into play. When you see those coverages, when I'm handed a deck page, and I look at that deck page, and I see the coverage limits from the current carrier of a prospective client, I'm able to tell through that conversation whether or not they're actually protected versus just insured.
Okay, interesting. So we should really tell people that commercial insurance is not just a checkbox item.
No, it's not just a checkbox item.
Okay, good to know. Hear that out there, everybody? Not a checkbox item. Get with an advisor who knows what they're doing, and make sure you're protected, not just insured. That's my PSA right now. I'm sure I'll have a few more as we go. What risks do business owners often ignore because maybe they haven't experienced them yet? Like what a lot of times top of mind. Like if I'm thinking of opening up a building, first thing I'm thinking is I don't want somebody to get hurt on my property, so I want to insure against that.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of things that come from underneath that or from that I'm not maybe even thinking about, that somebody like you can point me in the direction and go, well, what about this? What about this? What about this?
Yeah.
What are some of those things that we should be thinking about?
One of the top coverage gaps that people typically don't really think about is their business income. If your building catches fire, if you don't have the correct business income, which we typically will go with actual loss sustained over a fixed amount, because actual loss sustained means that we're going to give you the money that you're actually going to lose, versus up to a fixed amount. It could be $100,000, but what if $200,000 really fits the bill? If you have actual loss sustained, then that'll be the amount that you would actually recoup.
Interesting. And so that's something that's different on the commercial side than the personal side. Like there's no income replacement insurance. I mean, there probably is a product somewhere out there that somebody could write. But it's not a normal thing on the personal side. Business side, it's got to be something in your repertoire.
Well, think about it. In your personal world, you're not generating money, so there's nothing there to indemnify you for.
Okay.
In the business world, you are. It's a commercial policy. So, yes, you can be indemnified for business income.
And this is something that people who are sole proprietors should probably look into.
Sole proprietors, LLCs, they should all look into it.
Okay.
It should all be a conversation that you have with your insurance advisor.
Yeah.
And if you can, ask them for actual loss sustained. One of the processes that we have whenever we are dealing with a customer is we can go back and forth with the underwriters to be able to ask them, hey, we would like to see this coverage changed. We feel like this business owner would be better served with this coverage. And so through that conversation, we're able to advocate for our customers to be able to provide them with the right coverage.
Okay. Now you mentioned coverage gaps.
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the most common ones that you've seen while reviewing business policies? You already mentioned one. Are there other ones that might come up?
The number one not business income. I'm sorry, but the number one coverage gap is I usually don't see businesses with umbrellas. I don't think that
Love the umbrella.
I really care for it too. You know, umbrella really does give you that blanket liability coverage that fills in the gaps, and that's why I feel strongly that if it's at all possible that we put an umbrella with all our policies.
Now, I know about umbrellas on the personal side, and basically, it's one of those things where it covers a bunch of different things under it, but you have to have minimums,
You
a
do.
certain more than the minimum on some of those things to meet the umbrella minimum coverage for the umbrella. Does that happen on the commercial side too? Like if I have minimum commercial insurance on my property and I want to get an umbrella, well, I have to like up my.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
There's they typically will have certain liability limits that they'll want you, that the underlying limits need to be in order to qualify for umbrella.
Do they start at higher levels on the commercial side? Like personal side, maybe you get like an umbrella, but the commercial side.
Yeah, well, typically commercial policies have higher liability limits anyway.
Okay.
So that's absolutely true. You're not going to find a $25,000 limit on any commercial policy.
No.
Typically, usually we're looking at $1 million, to start. So yeah, no.
Now, speaking of the higher liability limits and things, growth in a business, adding more staff, adding more equipment, adding more revenue, that changes risk for the business owner.
It does.
When that risk it's getting more of a risky play because you have more lives involved, more things to care for.
Mm-hmm.
How does that change the insurance coverage or the insurance liability on your end? Is there a whole new set of things to step into, or are we just increasing limits?
No, typically we're increasing limits, but I'll say this. If you add a location, then if you add a location or if you add a new service, that may then spark us to go look at some new coverage that you didn't have before.
Okay.
So as businesses change and businesses start to do new things, that's when we start to add new coverage. Of course, as your building appreciates in value, you want to go ahead and follow that value with coverage. But yeah, that's definitely, a part of business growth is trying to cover that risk.
Are there assumptions that business owners make that later come back to bite them that you've seen? Man, I really wish I would have got that sooner. That's everything with insurance, I guess.
Well, I don't know that there's any one thing. I do know that, in the workers' comp world, we can write what's called a ghost policy where, they have the workers' compensation on paper, but it really doesn't cover the owner because he's filing an exemption. I sometimes think, if you're on a job and you get hurt, no, you're not going to sue yourself, but you do get some income. You do get a partial 30-40%, I'm not sure what the figure is, of your income back, and that could help you as the employer weather the storm.
Okay. So we're also making sure they have the right, because if they have that plus that business insurance thing, their income insurance when you're talking about.
Well, business income is a little bit different. Okay. We're talking about a workers' compensation. We're talking about your how much we've calculated that you're paying yourself. So if you're an owner, I believe it's somewhere around $61,000, something like that. And so you would get 30-40% of that as a part of your workers' compensation claim. And I just personally feel that, if you're the owner, you might as well protect yourself. You're covering your employees. Take care of yourself.
Absolutely. See, I didn't know that. When you talk about business income earlier, I was like, oh, it covers everything, but it covers stuff coming in.
That
just in case.
Yeah.
So it's all these coverages I'm going back to like things that I'm thinking about missing. Like, man, like Yeah, I didn't think I needed that. Okay.
Yeah. Well, part of the conversation is letting them know how
Yeah.
things work.
Is there a policy or one policy that business owners usually don't understand until it's too late?
Until it's too late. I think they understand their general liability pretty clearly. I think they don't really understand cybersecurity and how big a role it plays, especially in today's world.
Right.
With getting hacked and just having so much of people's personal information, like that lands right at your doorstep if something happens.
That's crazy. I didn't even think of that. As the world's evolving and changing, there's other now new things you have to insure for.
Yeah.
And, part of being a broker agency that has access to all different types of lines and companies, when something rises, somebody's writing it somewhere and you have access to get it.
Right.
Which is remarkable. So I appreciate what you're doing over there.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. If you're listening and realizing that you might not fully understand your coverage, that's exactly why we have these conversations. So inside the Prosperity Lounge, you can go to www.theprosperitylounge.com. Use promo code radio to join our free community. Did I mention it's free? It's free. We focus on protecting your money, your business, and your peace of mind. We don't sell stuff. PDFs in there, grab it. You want to support the show, grab it. I'm not pushing you to do anything. It's there. I'm probably the world's worst salesman when it comes to selling myself, but it's in there. Support us. Got it. And again, you can join the Prosperity Lounge. Again, like, comment, subscribe. Leave me a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. I like to hear from you guys every so often. All right, back to the conversation. That was a quick break. All right, so Anthony, I want to talk about insurance as a growth and stability tool. So business owners need to have the conversation with their team, need to have the conversation with their advisor, need to get a good advisor, first of all.
Right.
And have the reframe insurance as part of their long-term strategy. How does this conversation take place, and what are the things you asking the business owner when they come to you?
So the question is would you give me that one?
So reframe insurance as part of their long-term strategy. When somebody's sitting down with you and you're going to talk to them about insurance, how's that conversation go?
How's that conversation go? That conversation goes by me not talking to them.
Okay.
The first thing I do is I listen.
Okay.
I hear. With my customers, I want to get to know them. Especially with businesses, you really need to take some time to listen to their pain. They don't typically come to you if everything's okay. They could have had a claim and they're being non-renewed. They could have experienced a rate increase, whatever it is. I want to hear, what their experience has been with their insurance thus far. And that helps me to be able to understand what type of impact I need to have on this customer.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you're probably having mostly two types of conversations. You're having the conversations with people that are just starting out and they want everything in place, and the ones that are panicking because something happened,
right?
And either they don't have it or they don't have enough, or they're trying to figure out how to get the money they aren't sure. So something happened, you're having those conversations.
Yes.
Or it's like, hey, I'm just starting. What should I do? Which ones do you prefer? I'm put you on the spot.
Oh, wow. The ones that I prefer, I really do like startups.
Okay.
They're fun. They're fun because you really feel the energy of this person with the business idea, and they want to take on the world. It's like, well, I love that. So I think, they can be a little bit frustrating because you have to sort of temper the enthusiasm with reality. Like some business ideas are super risky, and the insurance premium is going to reflect the risk. So I really do like also to deal with people who have existing insurance, because if you can improve upon their insurance policy, that they are very thankful. And the good thing about interagency is, with our customers, if they are experiencing and for whatever reason, an adverse situation with one of the carriers we have them with, we can put them at a different carrier without them having to switch agents. And I think that it's very valuable.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's a hassle.
It is.
Oh my gosh, I had to deal with that recently with family member switching insurance companies for auto insurance, and it was still have auto insurance here and another product at the other company. And it's,
yeah,
pain. Speaking of insurance can be used or become an asset instead of just an expense. When does that usually happen for people? Because people are like, I'm spending so much on my insurance. It's really one of the first things when I talk to business owners, Anthony, that they would consider cutting because of the expense. They're like, how can I save some money? I don't need that much coverage. Maybe I could save. And you look at it and go, what are you going to save? $5 a month? $10?
Well,
$5?
Yeah, I understand that. I think it becomes an asset when it helps you sleep at night.
Okay.
I think that it's, for me, that's a big deal.
Yeah. I like my sleep.
So do I.
I told the story here a couple times when we were first getting out of debt or first realizing we had a problem, or I had a problem. I always say we because my wife's here, but it's me with the problem. Back in 2007, 2008, when that last debt crisis happened, and we ended up $370,000 in debt.
Oh, wow.
And there was nights where I didn't sleep for like 2 years straight.
Yeah.
And I was worried things were going to happen. The car was going to get towed and
oh, wow. Yeah.
towed and things like that. And I'm like, yeah, I value sleep now.
Peace of mind.
Peace of mind, for sure.
Yes.
So I love it. Now, having the right growth having the right coverage, I should say, can support business growth instead of limiting it. And I should have started the question with how does that happen? But I didn't. So I backed myself into a corner here.
Okay.
I'll reframe it. How does the right coverage support growth instead of limiting it?
The right coverage supports growth because it makes the growth possible. Any of these new ventures are all underwritten by an insurance policy. No one wants to invest money in something and risk all of that investment on an accident, an act of God. Things do happen, and that's a part of the reason why the insurance is such a what do I want to say? It's the spine of the American economy. It is what underwrites the American economy.
Spoken like a true insurance guy. So here's one for everybody out there who's listening. We're early in the year. What changes should a business make immediately to trigger like a coverage review? Is there anything that would trigger a coverage review from you that they think about? They're changing. Maybe they hired people. Maybe they're expanding. What are some things that would trigger that?
Hiring people, purchasing a new building or a new vehicle. What else? If you decide to build or add a location in a new state, those are all different situations that are going to spark the need to look at your insurance. I typically ask people, have you looked at your insurance in 2 years? Is your renewal coming up soon? Those are really good times to do a coverage review. If you've grown, if your payroll has gone up, another $50,000, $60,000 in that year, it's a good time to do a coverage review.
And don't wait till after you buy the new vehicle or after you buy the building to go ask what the insurance is going to be on it. Do that beforehand so you have an idea what the cost is going to be.
Yeah, that is a great idea. You definitely want to take the time to think about what's the total cost going to be.
Yeah. Most people, again, that I run into when they're starting off and they're trying to save some pennies, they're thinking about, I'll just wait till next year to add this on. I can get by with one more year or a little bit more time of not having it because nothing's happened to me yet.
Right.
That's a costly, expensive mistake. Again, I did it with the question. I am on fire tonight, Anthony. Why? Why is that a costly, expensive mistake? Because if something happens, are they able to come? They're not able to back their coverage.
No, oh, absolutely not.
Right. No, of course. But even if like something happened, like if there's, all right, let's just throw out a scenario. I don't have fire coverage.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, it's too expensive. And there's a fire at my building, my work.
Right.
Obviously, I don't have coverage for that fire. But if I want fire coverage going forward,
yes,
am I able to get it? And if I get
absolutely.
it, sky high because I'm a risk now.
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
If you had a fire and that fire wasn't filed as a claim and you took care of that claim, you're on your own. No, you're not more of a risk. You really aren't. The main thing in that situation is to find the cause of the fire, and so that going forward, that risk is minimized. But no, that wouldn't prevent you from doing that.
Okay. But it's costly because I have to now repair it.
But it's definitely more costly to have to repair the building after a fire.
Okay. Good to know. Let's talk a little bit about you and your work as an independent insurance agent.
Okay.
What does it mean to be an independent insurance agency?
What it means is that interagency has gone out and got appointments with different insurance carriers, and so we're able to help people buy insurance through the carriers that we have on our roster. It really, to the customer, it means that we're your advocate. We don't work for the insurance company, we work for you.
Okay. And that's a great point, because if you have I'm in the financial advising space. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm kind of, along that lines. And one of the things in financial advising is there's the difference between suitability and fiduciary. And fiduciary, for those that are listening, is basically like you have your client's best interest at heart first and foremost. Suitability is you find a suitable product for your client. That might always not be the best one, but it might be the one that pays me the highest commission. So there's certain standards in certain industries that either have to have a suitability standard as a bare minimum or a fiduciary standard. And I likened this to you the other day when we spoke, having all those assets, meaning all those companies at your disposal, whether your industry regulates fiduciary or suitability or not, you're acting in a fiduciary standard because you have all these products that you can get them the best fit. You're not just finding one within one that's just going to work because that's the only one you have for them.
No,
I love that about that.
Yeah. That is why I have felt that this model is the best for the customer.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah. Do you see people when they come, and you might have mentioned this earlier, having policies just with, one here with different companies just to make their whole portfolio work?
Yes. Sometimes yes.
Okay.
Sometimes no. When we look at creating an insurance solution, we try to find if that solution is that we go out and piecemeal put together insurance policies to cover the risk with 5 monoline policies, or we put it together in a commercial package. We try to find which one of those two solutions is going to fit the customer's needs. Now, some customers have a risk profile that makes it difficult to put them in a package policy.
Sure.
So we end up going with monoline and covering the risk in that manner. But ultimately, it's doing what's best for the customer, and then explaining to them the why.
Now, you were talking about businesses earlier that were maybe riskier to insure, or maybe taking a little bit more effort to find carriers.
Yeah.
I assume, you want to open up a fireworks store versus a bookstore.
Yeah,
It's going to be a little harder.
That would be one of the more difficult ones. Yeah.
Do you guys write just in Tennessee, or do you guys have
All 50 states.
50 states? Okay. So given that, do you see any policies or plans, specific plans that maybe is more prevalent in a certain part of the country as opposed to, say, like, let's say here in East Tennessee? Like, I'm going to joke around. Is there alligator coverage in Florida? That's say here in Tennessee?
I don't know about alligator coverage, but yeah, I can, really, I got to be honest with you. Most of my businesses are here in Tennessee.
Okay.
But I can imagine that if, you have a certain type of industry in Louisiana, say alligator farming, that you're gonna have someone down there that wants to insure it. And so, depending on the industry that's within that state or in that region, you'll find insurance carriers to take care of it.
Interesting. Nice. I would assume in places like California or even like Louisiana, like you said too, like Mother Nature plays a role. So maybe hurricane coverage, earthquake coverage.
Yeah.
That we may not need necessarily here in East Tennessee, but we may need snow coverage.
Yeah. You'll find regional coverages, like you say, hurricane coverage. Yeah. On the coastal areas, absolutely. You can get earthquake coverage here, sinkhole coverage.
Yeah, sinkhole coverage for sure.
Yeah.
Those are things that you have to sit down with your advisor and kind of go over, because you don't know where those sinkholes are at, or
you don't know. And after one opens up, it's too late.
Well, I think I already asked this one, but I'll ask it again just in case. How does access to the multiple carriers change outcomes for business owners?
Access to the multiple. It, for some people, allows them to have access to insurance, period. I had a customer I worked with a week or so back, had a couple claims, and without the fact that we had so many carriers, I don't think that he would have found insurance at all. But luckily, we were able to help him out. He was really grateful, and hopefully he'll be a customer for a very long time.
I love that. When you're doing an insurance review for somebody, what should business owners expect from, and I wrote here, a real insurance review?
They should expect to have the coverages explained to them. They should expect to not only have that, they should expect that their advisor comes to them on their own level, because not everyone has the same amount of foundational knowledge within insurance that other people have. I sometimes deal with people who have been in insurance and understand the coverages really well, but not all of my customers do. And so we come to them, we explain to them the coverages, we talk to them about the what ifs, and give them scenarios so that if they've got any kind of apprehension about, will this policy cover me in the event of this, they do understand how this policy is going to function. The last thing they want is on claim day to come that their policy doesn't function as promised.
I'm laughing because you said claim day. I like that. It comes for us all.
Yeah, it really does.
So you guys, and what I've know about you a little bit here is taking an education first approach with insurance.
We do.
How do you feel that education first approach reduces long-term risk for a business owner?
I think it helps empower them to be on the front lines, um, managing that risk. We're not going to be on the work site. We're not going to be in the building every day. They will be. And so it is, in their best interest to make sure that claims don't happen. And if they understand where claims can arise from and how their policy will work, I think that helps business owners prevent claims, because ultimately they don't want the headache, they don't want the hassle, they don't want the heartache that comes, with needing to use their insurance.
Absolutely. And I think, like you said, educating them on the risks that not having certain things. But I imagine, when I said not having, I imagine that every, in order to get funding for a business, in order to get funding for a building or a rent for a building, you have to show that you have the proper insurance in place in order to move in and start.
Correct.
And then as you grow, you have to change those insurances. You have to have the reviews, up those plans. As the value of your business increases, you also have to increase the value of your insurance. It's not going to be the same as when you started.
Correct.
And as you're going through that process and you're educating them, they're probably going to find things along the way that they should either address within the business, that because potentially down the line they're going to need to insure it. To go back to that situation where I brought up about the fire. You said something about going back and trying to find the wiring situation.
Right.
Well, I didn't even think of that when you said it. And I was like, yeah, that's right. So if you're talking to me and we're having a thing about fire coverage, I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm covered by fire. But maybe I should get an inspector in there to look at the wiring to make sure that that's not going to happen anytime soon.
That's exactly right. And that's one of the things that I try to do. I try to partner with, home maintenance companies, business maintenance companies, facility maintenance companies, to help my customers do more prevention so that we don't ever really get to claim time.
Yeah, we talk a lot on the show about being proactive rather than reactive.
Exactly.
That sounds exactly what it is, because when those claims come and you're being reactive, I'd rather be proactive and not have them happen at all. And I mean, sometimes it's just part of doing business. Things happen.
This is true.
You're properly covered.
This is true.
Okay, I love it. Well, we are on the tail end of our episode already.
Oh wow, that was.
I know, is it crazy?
Yeah,
Time flies.
It does.
I have some audience questions that came in.
Okay.
As soon as I said Anthony's coming on, I got some people that reached out and wrote some questions for you. Tim and Farragut asked, I already have insurance. How do I know if it's actually right for my business?
The best way to find out whether or not that insurance is right for your business is to stress test it. And by stress test it, find out whether or not run some scenarios through your head. If this, then what? And will that provide enough coverage for you? For instance, I just love business income because it's just so easy to understand. If your business income coverage isn't, let's say it is a fixed amount, your business yearly revenue is $200,000, but it's only providing $100,000 worth of coverage, then that fails the stress test.
No, it's interesting. One of the things I forgot to ask you earlier, and I'll go back to your questions next here real quick, is the other types of insurance coverage that business owners should look into or have. And I think we mentioned in our pre-conversation about the key man insurance and
buy-sell
agreement, and then the other thing is the term policies on each other's business owner. Is that something you guys handle too?
Yes, and when you asked me that question, I've been thinking about it the entire day since 20 or 30 But anyway, those are ways that you can use life insurance in a commercial context. They're not strictly commercial insurance, but you're using life insurance to fund a buy-sell agreement. Using life insurance to in a key man situation, it helps the business recover the cost that it will take to go out and find another key man.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are just we absolutely. I tell people, commercial insurance is my bread and butter, but my passion is life. I really love life insurance. I really love helping people. I've had to help a customer, a widow, after she lost her husband, and giving her that money felt great.
I can imagine. We always talk sometimes about in the business situation when you have a partnership and you're going around and somebody passes away or it's, I don't know, my wife's going to correct me later. I don't know how many, it's like the 4Ds or the 5Ds. It's like divorce, disinterest, death, drugs, or something, one of the other Ds that usually will happen for somebody where they no longer want to be part of the business.
Mm-hmm.
And having, obviously things in place where if the business can continue.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have that part of it. That's just going to be another avenue of insurance. It kind of covers the business. I'm kind of loosely covering it, loosely bringing it into that commercial zone, but it's part of the business growth.
It's part of the business growth. It protects so many people. Think of all the employees that are going to be protected by a key man policy because they get to keep their job. They get to stay a part of a strong organization. And so that is really a great use for life insurance. I really like that.
All right. Sorry, guys. To get back to Susan's question here. And Susan in Fountain City asked, how often should a business review their commercial insurance?
I would review my commercial insurance every 2 years. Every 2 years, or if I experience, and I don't want to set a benchmark here, but if I experience significant revenue growth or brought on significant payroll. And any of those events that would probably trigger me to want to think about looking at my insurance.
Okay. And I told you my wife would probably correct me. She probably put it in the chat with it's the 5Ds.
The 5D.
Death, disability, divorce, distress, and disagreement. But drugs is also in there too. So there's a 6-to-1, honey. Calling her out live. All right.
I don't know if that was a smart thing to do.
I'm gonna get it later. Everybody who's watching, it's there's evidence here. I'm fine right now. I will be here next week. Mike in Lexington, Kentucky asks, what's the biggest insurance mistake you see new business owners make?
The biggest mistake I see them make, new business owners make. Really, I think it is not having adequate coverage limits, not actually drilling down on what the liability coverage should be. Mm-hmm. Typically, when we write a policy, we'll go. People will want to just do a $1 million limit, and they won't think about, well, what do I really have to lose here? Mm-hmm. They usually hear that $1 million and they're like, $1 million, it's got to be enough. It may not be. Right. And I think that not really thinking about what the total risk could be and drilling down on that number is the biggest mistake I see people make.
Ben from Nashville asked, I have an LLC. Doesn't that automatically protect me personally if something goes wrong?
Well, it protects. Yeah. Now I'm not a business. I don't have a business degree, and really, when you start talking about that, you're talking about a business degree. Mm-hmm. LLC creates a separate entity that, if it's sued, it's not taking your personal assets because they're not suing you. Okay. But yeah, it definitely can provide that gap, provide that protection.
And finally, Amanda from Oak Ridge asked, I work with subcontractors from time to time. How does that affect my liability and coverage?
She works with subcontractors sometimes.
Yeah.
How does, well, if she's working with subcontractors and they work that they do that you've subcontracted them to do, you can also be attached in the liability in terms of whatever they may do. So if they're going in and they're doing some work on your behalf within a building and cause a fire, then that liability will extend to you.
Okay. Good to know. Well, we are moving into our, what I like to call our custom rapid fire round.
Okay.
10 questions specifically for you. It's a little different than we do on Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays and Wednesdays, they get the same 10 questions. Here on Friday, we get a custom 10 questions, quick answers, no overthinking.
I'll do my
First
best.
thing that comes to your head.
All right.
Most misunderstood commercial insurance policy.
EPLI.
Right over my head. One coverage every business thinks they have, but often don't.
Hired, not owned.
Biggest red flag you see when reviewing an existing policy.
Percentage deductibles.
One insurance mistake that costs businesses the most long term.
Not having adequate claims made coverage.
General liability, essential or overrated?
Essential.
When should a business immediately review their coverage?
Whenever they make a big purchase, whether that's property, a vehicle, those two. Yeah.
Okay. Most dangerous assumption business owners make about insurance.
Then insurance is going to protect them from every risk.
I'm going to circle back to that. All right. One thing business owners should ask their agent every year.
I think that they should ask them every year to review their coverages and have a conversation as to whether or not they are still relevant.
That's a good point. Best advice for a business owner who hasn't reviewed coverage in years.
Go talk to your advisor on Monday.
Pick up the phone right away. Make an appointment. And lastly, what is your personal definition of prosperity?
My personal definition of prosperity is the increasing love for my family and my friends.
Love that. So I want to circle back to that thing. I forgot what I want to circle back to.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the assumption thing. No. Yeah, I'll think of it later. And maybe I'll do another video of it, guys. So you have to just watch down the road. If there's one thing you want business owners to walk away remembering from today's conversation, what would it be?
That your insurance advisor should be your friend. You know, I really do feel strongly about that. You know, my customers are my friends. You know, we have good rapport, and I do everything I can, you know, within reason, to help them all. I really do.
Love that. We'll get some good comments in the chat here. I just want to let you know people are loving the episode. Learned so much.
Awesome.
Insurance is always a great topic, great knowledge, and Anthony Slay rocks.
Oh,
Awesome.
thank you.
For business owners who want to learn more, Anthony and the team at Inter-Agency Insurance offer commercial insurance, education, and coverage options across Tennessee and across all 50 states. Inter-agencyinsurance.com, 865-637-4519. 865-637-4519. When you call the number, ask for Anthony.
Yes, sir.
Tell him you heard him on the Prosperity Lounge. This way he can give me a high five when I see him. And that's about it, guys. Protection isn't fear. It's stewardship. And businesses that last aren't just built on vision and hustle. They're built on preparation. If today's episode helped you think differently about protecting what you're building, share it with another business owner who needs to hear it. And as always, check us out on YouTube, check us out on podcasts, check us out on Facebook, check us out on social. Leave me a comment, stop by and say hello, see me on the street and give me a thumbs up. Love to hear from you. Until next time, everybody, stay faithful, stay fearless, and always remember, freedom lives where faith and action meet. The lounge is always open, and so is your next breakthrough. This is the Prosperity Lounge.
Pull up a chair. The journey's begun.